It's got to be real.
Okay, guys, so Keith Thurman versus Shawn Porter. Apparently, Shawn Porter saying that Keith Thurman is ducking him. You got to rate Shawn Porter and Kenny Pop because they're the type of fighters, right? Sorry, they're the type of... Shawn Porter is the type of fighter. He doesn't duck no one. He ain't scared of no one. Nothing bothers him. All he wants is the big fights. The money is not a big issue with Shawn Porter. Nothing is. He just wants to be a great fighter. The passion, the heart, boxing. That's what he is. He's a boxer. He loves boxing. He wants to be the best. He's willing to put in the work. That's what I like about Shawn Porter. No ducking, no jiving, no, you know, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? No diva antics. He's on it. Shawn Porter's on it. Okay, now, Keith Thurman is still a brilliant boxer. He went against Collazo. Collazo hit him with a body shot. People think, oh, Collazo hit him with a body shot. If Amir Khan hit him with a body shot, Keith Thurman would absolutely get annihilated. If Shawn Porter hit him with a body shot, he could get annihilated. How many times have we seen in boxing where one fighter versus one fighter, something happens in that fight, and they think, oh, Joe Frazier, he dropped Ali, therefore George Foreman is going to knock out Muhammad Ali. Did it happen? No. Sometimes it's just a one-off, and that's what it is with boxing. Just because one guy does one thing doesn't mean another guy's going to go and repeat it. There's like a certain... You know, if it happens again and again and again, then you can say it. But I mean, just a one-off, like, give it a break, okay? Keith Thurman's still a really good fighter, a really good boxer. He's got some good solid punching power, good counter puncher, knows his stuff, knows how to box. And my truthful opinion is that Keith Thurman, when Shawn Porter comes in, will land some very big counter punches. Okay? But Shawn Porter has an unbelievable work rate. He's very, very difficult to beat. Therefore, you have to give Kell Brook credit for weathering the storm and beating Shawn Porter. But Shawn Porter against Keith Thurman, that's going to be a brilliant fight if it happens. I think that, just wanted to touch on the fight, like, as we look into the dynamics of the in-ring stuff, right, between Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman is a fighter, he will move in the fight. Shawn Porter will be the aggressor. Keith Thurman, at times, will throw very hard punches. Now, the thing about Shawn Porter is not a big puncher. Now, that might surprise people like, what? He annihilated Paulie Malignaggi. What are you talking about? Yeah, okay, but he wasn't able to drop Devin Alexander. He wasn't able to drop Kell Brook. He has the same knockout percentage as Mayweather at one point. I don't know if it is at the moment, but, you know, he wasn't able to even drop Adrian Broner. Shawn Porter is not a big puncher at 147. He's got an aggressive style. He'll definitely catch your attention, but he hasn't got a snap in his punch which can knock you unconscious. But, like, you see, like, that's the thing with Shawn Porter. His punching power is overrated. Keith Thurman's punching power is real. His punching power, he broke the rib of Julio Diaz. He stopped Hizo Soto Caras in devastating fashion. He dropped Diego Chavez with a very hard body shot. He stopped Luis Collazo. He made Luis Collazo quit. For whatever reason, Luis Collazo quit. So Keith Thurman's power, in my opinion, is tested and up to scratch and is real. Shawn Porter's power is overrated. Shawn Porter, however, carries one thing. He's unbelievably fit. He has an unbelievable work rate. He's not scared to get punched. But that's also a bad thing because we saw Shawn Porter get dropped at Adrian Broner with the left hook. Adrian Broner is not a big 147 puncher. He is, in fact, one of the weakest punchers at 147. Kell Brook was able to catch Shawn Porter and hurt him. Okay? How good is Shawn Porter's chin really? What happens, and he does leave himself exposed, what happens when he comes leaping with his chin in the air, trying to throw a big punch, and Thurman catches him with one big one? We've seen Keith Thurman, that is what he does. That is what he's an expert at. Moving around the ring, and all of a sudden when someone comes in, you know, really like, he's moving, right? This is Keith Thurman's style. He's moving, he's trying to be a difficult target, jabbing you, boxing you. All of a sudden, Shawn Porter, right, he's going to come in, bob and weave, right? And he's going to be throwing, and he throws a nice spear jab to Shawn Porter. I think he does anyway. Yeah, he comes, he tilts to the left, spear jab, right? He ducks under. You see he's got like a rolling style, like a peekaboo style, you could say, similar, right? He's rolling, and that's the way he engages his bang right to the body. And sometimes he'll look like he's throwing to the body, but he'll actually throw to the head. He'll be on the inside, he'll hit you towards the side of the head, back here. He'll uppercut you. You see? And Shawn Porter comes in like this. But what happens, in my opinion, when he fights Keith Thurman is, when he comes to try this, Keith Thurman's going to be a bigger, naturally big, he's a big welterweight, he'll be strong. Bigger than Shawn Porter. We saw Shawn Porter did not have the necessarily massive size advantage against Kell Brook. He looked quite small, in my opinion. So when he faces someone like Keith Thurman, who's a big 147 lad as well, Keith Thurman's going to muscle him as well, and he's going to match him strength for strength. And what you're eventually going to see is Shawn Porter, he's in a measure range, and he's a good person at, like, when he measures range, he comes in, jumps in, you think he's going to throw a jab down the pipe, but he comes in, and you misjudge it, and the next thing you know, you got a left hook coming your way, and you move back, and you get caught on the chin, bang, and he can knock your ass out, because he does have that sort of punching power in terms of that. But what I see happening, truthfully, is I don't see Keith Thurman. Now, Keith Thurman's chin has been supposedly not that good, that's what I've heard, but I don't know, like, Keith Thurman, he's protected it pretty well. I think what happens is Keith Thurman, he covers up, Shawn Porter comes in with some hard body shots maybe, and I do think at some point in the fight you're going to see a point where Shawn Porter comes in very... See, some fights, they don't live up to the expectation where you think it's going to. And I said this about Gennady Golovkin versus David Lemieux, but all you guys were like, no, it's going to be, are you crazy? Are you stupid? Are you this and you that? It's going to be, look at their knockout ratios. And I said it's not going to be a fire fight. I said, watch, because it's an elite level fight, one of them's going to come to box. And I said, I think it will be Gennady Golovkin because he's got the amateur pedigree. What happened? Gennady Golovkin came to box. He came to box. This fight is different. This fight isn't going to be like that because Thurman will come to box. Shawn Porter is going to come in. He only knows one way. Bobbing, weaving, judging distance, jumping. Bam, 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 bam. What's going to happen? When he comes to jump in my opinion, I think Keith Thurman's going to take a step back, measure the distance. Once he's got the distance in check, right, and he knows that he can bang land his jab, and he's moving, bang land the jab. Right hand keeps continuously moving. Once he knows, he starts timing Porter come in like Kell Brook did. Kell Brook hasn't got the power of Thurman. Kell Brook timed him, caught him a little bit. Right, Thurman, what he'll do, in my opinion, is how the fight goes. Thurman will see Shawn Porter coming in, and eventually, when he's got the range down and the timing, first he's gonna have to get the range. First 2-3 rounds, he's gonna struggle with range with Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter has an early knockout chance as well, to be honest. But once he's gauged, when Shawn Porter comes in, he's got the timing down, and he starts to catch, you'll see Thurman maybe starting to catch Shawn Porter, in my opinion. And what happens is, Shawn Porter eventually will come in, and Thurman will load up with a hard punch. And you will see, in my opinion, something similar, potentially, between what happened with Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao jumped in, and Keith Thurman will absolutely load in such a big shot and knock Shawn Porter's head right to the other side of the ring. That's what I think will happen. I think you will see a vicious knockout. I think it's very difficult to say that because for that to happen in boxing is very unlikely, whatever fighters you're looking at. But if it's ever going to happen, I think it'll happen in this fight. And I think it's very likely. I think that points-wise, I don't think Keith Thurman can outpoint Shawn Porter. But I think what happens is Shawn Porter leaves himself open and gets knocked out. That's what I think. I think Shawn Porter's too active, too many punches for Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman won't be able to counter punches. You know, he ain't no Floyd Mayweather in terms of counter punching. He won't be able to block. His defense isn't as good as Floyd Mayweather's. And I think what Keith Thurman's going to have to eventually try and go for a knockout. I think if Keith Thurman wins this fight, it's going to be by knockout. If not, Porter wins by points. Leave a comment section below. Subscribe as always. Let me know what you think. I think distance control is going to be very important for this fight. I think if Shawn Porter measures the distance early, which Shawn Porter stands a chance for an early 2 to 3 round knockout. Anything past that, you're looking at Shawn Porter by points, or Keith Thurman by about round 4 to about 8-9. I think you'll be looking at Keith Thurman, if the fight happens, a knockout in between them rounds. Even a late knockout. But I think if Keith Thurman catches Porter clean, I think he'll take Porter out. I think Keith Thurman's got the power to do it. Because I don't think Shawn Porter's chin is as good as people think. And I don't think Shawn Porter's chin is as good as Shawn Porter thinks. We saw Shane Mosley wobble Shawn Porter in sparring with the counter left hook, I believe it was. It was kind of like a bit of a check hook when Shawn Porter was down low. Yeah, it was a check hook. Landed it on Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter wobbled severely with head guard on. I don't think his chin's that brilliant, to be honest. Comment section below, subscribe as always. I like Shawn Porter. I like Keith Thurman. Either Shawn Porter by points, Shawn Porter by early knockout, Keith Thurman by the 4th to 10th round knockout. I think that's what sort of thing we're going to look at. I think that's the sort of thing we're going to get. But I'm going to give a final prediction later on when the fight gets made in a bit.